Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the show Coffee Time with Marie Teresian CPA. Good morning, Pedro.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Great. It's a nice rocking morning.
Yes, yes.
So, welcome, guys. Welcome to you, our audience, our viewers, our listeners. We are so excited to have you here to at the show Coffee Time with Marie Teresian CPA. If you are returning to our show, welcome back. We love having you every time. If you're new, please give us a thumbs up or hands up in the chat. I know for listeners that won't work, but if you are viewing us live right now, we'd love to know that you are new, and we love having you here as well. So go ahead and subscribe and like the channel or the page that you're watching us on. As you know, we go live every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern on Marie Teresian CPA Facebook page, LinkedIn page, and also the YouTube channel. So I am your host, Marie Teresian, and I'm a CFO, an auditor, a certified public accountant, and a chartered global management accountant. I use my proprietary methodology, Valuation MT, to help businesses that reach their first million to 10x their profits using my methodology, of course. And I've also created an e-course that matches the system for those of you who like to kind of like learn and do kind of the DIY way in the beginning. So if you want to understand those concepts, the e-course is for you as you're starting out and you're less than 1 million. So you can check out the programs on www.theprofitlab.biz/programs. I'm also a Green Cardone licensee, and I coach businesses in sales, marketing, and money mindset. You can find out some of my coaching plans on theprofitlab.biz/plans-pricing. I've also authored a couple of books, The Complete Guide to Business Growth and A Business Owner's Guide to Operational Accounting. You can find those books available on theprofitlab.biz/shop. So, we recently had a really great webinar with Pedro. Pedro, it was so awesome having you at the webinar. So I wanted to do a quick touch up on that real estate webinar that we did. So, you want to give us some pointers or like what we talked about? It was so exciting. We had so many people attend, and I think they got so much value out of it.
Yeah. No, it was really good. I mean, I'm very passionate about real estate and taxation and so on. So we were able. It was a lot of information. We tried to condense it in 30 minutes. But I think that the feedback is that it was informative and
Yes.
that there's some things that a lot of people don't realize. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of educating people on at least bringing awareness about
Yes.
certain topics that, especially, like, for example, the short-term rentals is one that is very popular here in Florida, but it's catching a lot of people by surprise when they have to be income being exposed to self-employment tax. A lot of people don't realize that
Yes.
until it's too late. They get excited about the new revenue, and then they get hit with a tax that they did not accounted for. So
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, just to let you know, the webinar is going to be available on my website, theprofitlab.biz/programs. You're going to be able to find it there. It's going to be posted this week. So, if you want to get access to the webinar, please go ahead and check out the page. Should be available today or tomorrow. So you'll be able to access that webinar yourself. So a quick summary of what we've talked about in the past on Coffee Time. We are very passionate about, accounting and operations and business. So we've talked about financial analysis. We've talked about motivation, discipline, goals. So we kind of combine a lot of different features into what really makes us great entrepreneurs and business owners. Specifically in accounting, we've talked about, IRS audits, financial audits. We've talked about business plans. We've talked about cash flow management, inventory management. I mean, you name it. We've talked about so many different subjects. And then recently, last week we did touch up on some of the real estate stuff as well in prep for the webinar. But today there's a very, very hot topic that we're going to cover. And if you haven't heard it yet, so that's why we have Pedro to kind of give us the updates. So the hot topic right now is Inflation Reduction Act.
yeah,
Pedro, What is that?
What the heck is that
What
exactly?
is that?
Well. Yeah, it is. It is an.
You're like, where should I start?
Where should I start exactly? Well, it was. It is it's not long yet, but I believe I like to kind of keep up with what is happening because before it becomes law, we need to be aware of that. Now,
Yeah.
at this point, a lot of people are not even aware. That this Inflation Reduction Act is out there, and it passed the Senate August 7th, just this Sunday, and it is awaiting now approval of the House of Representatives. So it moving to the next stage, and we gotta keep an eye on that.
Hmm.
It is in essence, you probably recall the bill. What is it called? Build Back Better Act. That was they tried to introduce it back in early 2021. Um, didn't catch enough steam, so they kind of took kind of the same idea and kind of reshaped it a little bit. And that's basically what now they renamed it, uh, very timely with all the concerns of inflation. They're calling it now the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, within that, and I'm not gonna bore you with all of the details. 700, I think, it's 760 pages long. Who has the time?
Whoa.
I wonder how even these people,
How do you figure that out?
the senators, have the time to read all,
And do they
all
really
that stack of
understand what they're
papers.
reading?
Yeah, and then they dare to say yay or nay. You know what I mean? How? But anyways, I don't want to get into the politics of this,
No
but
politics, no. Mm-mm.
exactly. So let's not even get there. But it's a very long, extensive document. A lot of that has to do with energy and how. Anyways, so but within all of that, and I'm just going to give you a quick summary, and
Sure.
I wrote a couple of notes in here that basically it proposes to raise $725 billion. Um, in they're expecting is in essence to invest out of that 725 billion dollars of revenues that's supposed to generate, and it will also they will spend 433 billion in certain projects of energy,
Hmm.
Affordable Cares Act, and so on. And then it leaves us close to $300 billion, or $295 billion. And that is what how uh, they think that this is how it's going to reduce the inflation. Now, when you look at the revenue, where's the money going to come in? Is
Taxes?
they're going to they have created a new, or they will be creating a new tax for corporations, 15%
Of
alternative minimum tax. Uh, it sounds good on paper. The question is how is it going to be implemented? Still very unclear, and it leaves some room for tax planning. You know what I mean? This is again why the importance of tax planning and how is it that some of
Yeah.
these corporations might be able to reduce the impact. Now, one of the key components of that Revenue Act is that the income, they did add an element to that, that the 15% alternative minimum tax is going to be calculated not on taxable income, but on the net income per books. And that's what's catching a lot of people catching them by surprise,
Whoa.
because all of a sudden, oh wait, because now the calculation, we do a lot of tax planning by, we can show a healthy net income, make some
Right.
adjustment, and even in some cases show a tax loss because of
True. True.
acceleration
True.
of
From the book
depreciation.
to the tax. Yes. Yes.
Exactly. And
Yes.
so what they're saying is, no, 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 no. We're gonna actually impose this tax. It's an interesting thing because
On the book
typically the
income.
taxes are imposed on taxable income. And
Yes.
this is what's gonna cause, I think, some debates, because now you're saying, no, no, this tax is gonna be imposed on your book income, on your financial statements income, which then is gonna lead into potentially also some important the importance of how you record your accounting, your revenues and expenses. So then
Absolutely.
that net income, if that's how you're gonna be taxing me, then how I can report certain items in my P&L to potentially reduce that and utilize the combination of financial planning and tax planning. So in the process, I can then reduce my taxes. S corporation
That is
will not be
good.
affected by this. Uh, so it's not an issue for S corporations. My area that I like to look is at the real estate. So it's not going to be affecting regulated investment companies or real estate investment trusts. So
Got it.
that was an
Yeah.
area of concern, but at this moment, that's not going to be the case. Now, the other aspect of the income of the revenue part, there's going to be a part of this for prescription drug pricing. I'm not going to get into that, but it's supposed it's going to help reduce some cost for the consumer. But then within the process of 725 billion is monies are going to go into the IRS. 100 and I think 125 billion dollars is going to enhance what they call an enhanced IRS tax reform or enforcement. I'm sorry. And so, yeah, keywords, tax enforcement. Just keep that in mind. Enhanced tax. Yeah. So
I'm laughing
that,
because I'm thinking, I'm like, do taxpayers really understand all this? Like, this is where, 700-page document that the
correct,
taxpayer will never get to really see the real
correct,
impact and understanding. So, alternative minimum of tax that will affect their book income,
correct.
right? So they will have to pay these taxes so then they get the government will hire more IRS tax auditors to come back and audit them. So it's kind of like I don't even realize. I don't think the average taxpayer will even understand what the turnaround is. This is so convoluted in a way. To be honest,
Correct.
it truly is.
Yeah. And I was having a conversation yesterday with a couple business owners, and they, believe it or not, they had no idea. They're like, "What are you talking about?" And this was already Wednesday. You know what I mean? This happened
Yeah,
on Sunday. Wednesday, I'm having a little bit of a chit chat with a couple, having a little coffee. We're sitting and discussing business, and they have no idea. And this is the lesson. What happens is that the multi-billion-dollar company, the Amazons and the Apples of the world, they already went through this. They already had they have their battalion of attorneys and tax advisors and so on.
right,
Taking this apart and how I can make sure that if I'm impacted the least. What
right.
happens is that middle group that
Hmm.
gets impacted because they either don't have the time or they don't have the resources to hire qualified individuals to help them do the planning. Even though they should be
Absolutely.
doing it, they should be investing on that. They should be investing on financial planning, accounting, and tax. But look around and you see, and this is why some of this middle group of corporation, I believe, will be impacted by this because it'll be caught by surprise. But the part that also is starting to catch some wind and the people starting to realize is that IRS tax enforcement program. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I'm sorry, the amount that I guess is going to be designated to the IRS is 80 billion. It's a large amount of money
Okay,
that
big
is going
chunk, of course.
to the IRS, and then within that 80 billion, about almost 46 billion of those money is going to be dedicated to the tax enforcement activities, and that will be including determination of and collection of owed taxes. That means that people that already owe taxes, you need to start taking some action, because the other thing that happened is, if you recall, because of COVID, in essence, the IRS took a sabbatical. Yeah, I mean, they kind
Right,
of
right, right,
they pause a lot of the collection processes, and people may
right.
have thought that, well, I'm off the hook, but now
Not
they're
really.
pumping in money, and they're going to come after not only the new liability, but they're going to go back
Back
and
and
start
collect.
determining exactly the determination of, and that's the key words: determination of and
Determination.
collection of owed taxes. So they're going to go back, and they're going to, now that we have resources, we're going to have money, we're going to hire people.
Right.
Some numbers that were thrown out that they're going to be hiring 87,000 It's an army. They're gonna
Woo.
go in. Now that's not confirmed. That I'm just throwing a number that has been repeated through some of the media and some of the
True.
resources. The IRS has not confirmed this number, but that's an estimate that they're thinking that the IRS will be hiring somewhere. But even cut that in half. Let's say that's not 87. Let's say that they hire 40,000. That's a
Right.
large battalion of people that they're adding into their resources to dedicate to this enforcement.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
they're hiring attorneys. You got to wonder why they're hiring attorneys. So just think about it. You know what I mean? So these are the kind of things that we like to do to bring it to the more, the small, medium sized companies, to make them aware that this is coming
Yes.
and potentially coming our way, and we need to prepare. Now, the the IRS commissioner has
Mhm.
said repeatedly that they're not increasing the audit scrutiny of small
Mhm.
businesses because of the concern that has already started since Monday. The small business community thinking, well, this is going to affect me or the middle class people earning $400,000 or less. Uh, they're thinking that's going to affect. Now, one of the things again, I like to look at keywords, and when I said that our intent is not to, I mean, again, the intent, it is not intended to audit these companies. They're not saying definitely not. See, in the bill doesn't say, well, this program cannot audit companies of 400,000 or less or certain size. Now, the
Right.
intent is that it's not going to go in that direction, but doesn't mean that I am not going to. So, just keep those
It's
things
very
in
open
mind.
ended. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And
It's very
you got to
open.
be looking at keywords. I mean,
Yeah.
but in summary, the taxpayers are concerned. They're starting increasing the concern about the IRS could leading to more audits of the typical or average taxpayers. I know that the intent, again, the intent is to tax the wealthy. Now, is it going to happen? I personally, in my opinion, it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be there. I mean, there might be some revenues coming from there, but I believe that a lot of it's going to come from the middle group.
Right.
Uh,
Right. Because in a lot of cases, the ultra rich have their money and
Correct.
set up in different trust
Correct.
funds. They're set up in
Correct.
businesses, so it's not like
Exactly.
in their personal items. So it's not going to be taxed in that way. And they have, like you said, they have a group of attorneys and tax accountants that are helping them manage and plan for them. It's going to end up hitting the middle class. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's why, in my personal opinion, not to say that there will be zero impact, but I
Right.
believe that it's not going to be the numbers that they're going to be throwing out. I know that the intent is to tax the rich. It sounds good. Let's tax the rich and pass it to the others, but I don't think that that's exactly how it's going to work. I believe that if you are a company that is already hitting, I would say, even half a million and up in revenues, you're starting to develop some good revenue. I think that you ought to be doing some tax planning.
That's
So
fine
you're
for
looking at
sure.
your numbers, setting up
Agree.
your record keeping properly to make sure the documentation is there to substantiate your
Right.
deductions and so on, so then you don't get hit because of the increase. But in any way, to wrap this up, the takeaways again, that there's concerns. People are starting to take wind of the within the whole bill. There's this
Right.
section there's about the IRS. People are talking about the energy, and this is what the media is publicizing. But already people like ourselves are we're finding, no, wait, but there is this aspect that we need to make the public aware,
Right.
and people are starting to notice this. And then again, the IRS, in response to the criticism, they're saying, well, the intent is not, and this again, they keep repeating that our intent is not to, but again, you got to look at the keywords.
Right.
Historically, corporations do not bear the burden. This is something again that we got to keep in mind, is that historically the corporations don't bear the burden of taxes imposed on them. Typically, the people are going to suffer this is going to be the consumer, because if you increase the tax on corporations,
You're
their
gonna
pricing, they're going to restructure their pricing and pass it to the consumer.
exactly.
That has been historical. It has nothing to do with politics. It's
And
simply that's how it works.
right. And how is that actually reducing
Correct.
inflation in a way for the
Exactly.
average consumer? So yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't. So
it is a yeah, yeah. Listen, and we gotta look at economics. We gotta look at finance. If you're gonna
Right.
increase my costs, then I have to
Yes.
increase my pricing, and in the end, the product. So quote unquote, we're gonna tax the rich, but then they're gonna take that tax and pass it to the consumer. So did they actually got taxed, or is it the tax being passed to the consumer through higher prices? So. Uh,
Right. Right. Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
and finally, there's going to be $46 billion going to develop an army for the IRS. So I believe that if you have already, and again, they're saying that the 87,000. That again, that will make the IRS one of the largest federal agencies here in the United States, larger than the Pentagon, larger than the State Department, the FBI, you name it. They will
Wow.
make it the largest. Now, again, the exact number has not been determined, but it's something to be aware to look at what direction is this is going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. And I did say I was not going to say anything political, so I'm gonna what's in my head. I'm gonna keep it there. I had a thought I was gonna say, but I'm not gonna say it. But we want to keep this focus on the business owner and how they can take action. So with all of this information that's coming through to the business owner, it's really important. Like you mentioned, if you are already making about 500,000 and more in revenues, you should definitely start thinking about tax planning and financial planning, and we are here to help you out. you know Look at your costs, look at, see where
correct,
you can do some savings, and any loans that you have, try to gather them together. There's also, debt management will be one of the other things. So you got to look at all your numbers, right, to kind of make sure that you're doing the right type of financial planning. So that's what we are here for, to help you out. Strategic planning is something that we are proud that we can help you out with. So please reach out to us to give you the assistance that you need. Yeah.
correct. Yeah, no, this is an interesting, to be aware of this, and but then it got me thinking about, in general, the global economy,
Hmm.
how we got here. Because again, when you look at inflation, the reason of inflation is usually the reason has been because of the deficit. If we have a
Right.
deficit, this country has been running on a deficit, and it has nothing to do with politics. That is a fact. Doesn't matter who is the political
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
We have had inflation, I mean, I'm sorry, deficits running in this country.
Right.
And so how do we bring this into our from the macro to, let's say, the
To the micro.
business, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And how do we bring it down to a level like our households, our respective businesses, so then we can then better battle this situation. I like to use analogies of war, but we have to be thinking that way. You know what I mean? You have to
Yeah.
look at your home and how do I arm myself now and prepare
Right.
myself, my home, my finances at home, my
Right.
finances in my business, so then I can be not only competitive, but I can then take opportunities in this market, because there is opportunities out there for
Yes.
all of us. So
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. No, I agree with you. Looking at your household is going to be important too. Even if you don't have a business, but you have a certain amount of income, you have to look at your finances, put together a budget that can help you stay, on track. Budgets are great. Think of the times that we are going through and what's coming down the pipeline, and so make decisions on how you're going to sustain your household and, protect yourself and your family.
correct. Yeah, no, you mentioned budget. Within that, the overall financial management, including debt,
Right.
including cash flow. We have discussed this in
Yep.
many other podcasts, but and I know you have a good series about debt management, in
Yes.
and that is something that I believe that it becomes now more critical than ever. I mean, we have to be looking
Absolutely.
at those different aspects of, uh, one is the economy, but we have our personal economy. You have to look at your household, you have to look at your business, and analyze those situations that could potentially be harming your business. There's good debt, and I imagine you discuss those things. I
Right.
mean,
Yes.
but you have to look at those debt that basically all it's doing is bearing you down, and
Right.
you're in essence your living is to pay credit card debts and interest, and
Yes.
so. But I would like to hear from you. I mean, what is your thoughts about that? Now that we discuss the boring
The
the
boring. It was not boring. It was exciting.
but
There's a lot of other ideas in my head, but I can't say it.
what are especially now discussing it more from the micro or individual level our finances, what do you suggest we be doing as a business owner? What would you tell a business owner that has is generating good revenue now?
Mhm.
What would you advise them to do?
Yeah, I mean, so from a debt management perspective, and we did do a webinar, and that one was very specific for individuals and credit cards and that kind of stuff. And that webinar is available on the Profit Lab page. But from a business owner, I think they not only from the credit cards, but sometimes they have different loans. So it's important to put together a schedule. That's very important to put together a schedule with, what are the balances that you owe, what are the interests that you're paying, and try to think through where you can manage. Maybe you get a different loan that can cover and consolidate certain debts so that you can, manage the interest and you're paying less interest. For example, some businesses that are still, let's say, struggling, or they may take short-term loans, but those short-term loans sometimes have a lot higher interest than you can imagine.
Yeah,
So those of you that have multiple loans and you might want to think of consolidation, make a schedule. Anything that you put in schedule, and at least for me, I'm a very visual person. Once I put in a spreadsheet and I have my headings, my interests, okay, which one is going to be more beneficial for me? You might be able to use, let's say, some type of a you know like a credit, a transfer of credit, and you'll be able to, let's say, pay less interest. There's a lot of information that, there's a lot you can do once the information is out there on the open. You'll be able to visualize everything versus just randomly making decisions. So, and that is part of financial planning, right? So that's only a little section of the debt
yeah,
and how to manage that. So, and it's kind of similar on the individual side. You can do that with credit cards as well. But that is something that you would have to look at. If you have multiple loans and you don't know which one is which and which one you're paying more interest on, you need to put together a schedule and start looking at it. And if you need help, of course, we're always here. That would be my suggestion on the debt side. And general budget for every business is a must. At any time, every year, there has to be at least a basic budget put together, even if it's like literally rolling prior year's actuals, just to start somewhere. It's important to have some kind of a budget that you can stay on, on top of as the year goes by, and then be able to compare how you're doing. That is something that will help business owners stay on track for sure. Those are
okay,
at least a couple of things that they can do to as they're preparing these changes that are coming down the pipeline, on the, from a micro standpoint, just to
yeah.
make sure they're hanging in there, they're sustaining their business and their income. And of course, we can, you can assist them from the tax planning side, and see what type of action they need to take from there. Yeah.
Right. No, no, that's good advice. I mean, in the what I recommend in general is planning, business, tax planning,
Yeah.
financial planning. You
Yeah.
have to take the time, and this is how the larger corporations minimize the taxes. Again, we get angry when we hear about a corporation paying 15% tax when you are paying 20 and up. Yeah, I
Right.
know it probably boils your blood, but what you gotta do is learn how they do that. Yeah, I mean, instead of
Right.
getting angry with them, why is it that Elon Musk pays such a ridiculous such a low tax rate? Now we can get angry with him, or we can figure out why or how does he do it, and then we learn
Yeah.
from that. This is what you and I bring to our clients is the how. I mean, you want to know how, then just give us a call, and then you can see then how we can start implementing this from like like you were saying about debt management, cash flow management,
Yep.
all these things, all these tools that these companies are doing on a regular
Mhm.
basis. They already dissected this Inflation Act, and they're already preparing in
Right.
eventuality that goes out to the president, because what
Yes.
they're estimating that if he goes to the president, he's gonna sign it, and so if it passes, and that's what we gotta be watching. And then they're
Right.
already doing that. They're already staying on that track and developing a plan of action, even though it's not law yet. They already have it. Well, if it passes, then we're gonna do this, and that's what kind of things we have to be doing. That's the planning that we ought to be
Yeah. And Pedro, something that I wanted to mention, it has nothing directly to do with the subject of Inflation Reduction Act, but it's the mindset of the big
doing.
companies, right? The
Yeah, yeah,
CEOs and the
yeah.
CFOs, they are there to make the most out of the knowledge that they
Correct.
have, and they're
Correct.
willing to invest in professionals to
Exactly.
help them get that information. The
Exactly.
difference with the what we see sometimes with the brand new business owner, or mid-size or sometimes smaller business owner, is that they're just so, and we've talked about this, the DIY mindset. You're
Correct.
not going to get this kind of help anywhere else. No one is out there telling you this information. We are here telling you this information openly, and we're here to help you. But you also have to be willing, right, to
Correct.
have
Yeah.
that open mindset and be willing to invest in professionals to help you with this stuff, because
Correct.
you're not going to be able to figure it
Yeah.
out yourself.
Exactly.
So that's a mindset thing. And it's really important as business owners to have the right mindset up here and be able to leverage the right professionals to help your business get to the next level,
Mhm.
whatever it is, whether it's in taxes, it's in
Yeah.
whatever it is.
No, you're right, and then even including coaching. I mean, a lot of times,
Yeah.
all and they that's what they do. They invest in coaching. How can I increase my
Yeah.
revenues? How
Yep.
can I reduce my taxes? So I bring somebody to help me to reduce my taxes. How can I
Right.
protect my company to become less, let's say, exposed to lawsuits? I have my attorney to
Exactly.
you see what I'm saying. So they,
Exactly.
like you said, they leverage that. Can I Google it? Yes.
Of course you can.
They're very smart. I can do it, you can do it, but we don't have the time. You know what I mean? For me to sit down, I call my attorney, tell, listen, Joe, I need help. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Because I have to focus on the growth of my company. And so,
Exactly.
yeah, you're right. Is leveraging on professional investing on professionals to help you grow your business.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's and that's what we're there for. And thinking too small and trying to stay DIY, you're only going to grow this
Mhm.
big, and then that's where you're going to be stuck for years and
Correct.
years and years. And the reason some companies have become that huge, like someone like Amazon, which everybody hates on,
Yeah, yeah,
he has a very open mindset. Let's put it out there. I can hate the guy. I'm all
exactly.
Amazon.
But
I've
you
been
gain
using
nothing with
Amazon
that.
since
Correct.
I was in college. I was buying books there. I was
Yeah,
selling books there, and I was always amazed of the stuff that he
yeah,
would push out. I'm like, man, that was out. Whoa, how did he think of that? I
exactly.
would always be amazed how that man would constantly push something that was so out there. I'm like, wow. I've always been amazed every
Correct.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No,
when
you're
people
right. I
hate
mean,
on him,
you can hate the
yeah,
person, but you gain nothing with that. You actually, yeah, no, no. Figure out how he did it, learn from that, and see
yep,
how can you implement it. And also that is their mindset.
exactly.
They're not necessarily wasting time and hating each other. It's okay. I can see what you did. Let me see how I can do it. They model. They even copy. You know what I mean? But they're
Yes,
constantly looking how I can improve instead of wasting time and hating others. And you don't see them
yeah,
social media, hating each other. You know what I mean? That's not common. Does it happen? Maybe, but that's not how they invest in their time. They want to invest their time. How can I continue growing my business?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then again, not that I'm taking Amazon's side or anything, but when you think of the bigger picture,
Mhm.
Amazon or similar companies are employing thousands all over, thousands of people. So when you're on as a business owner, when you're still starting out and you're only thinking you, the impact to the world is nothing. It's just you. So it's just so micro. And these companies have made it there because of their mindset and the way they are willing to work with other professionals to
Right.
help them get there and get that impact going.
Mhm.
So I know we kind of got off a little bit on
Yeah,
the main Inflation Reduction Act conversation, but I
yeah,
hope all the different key points that we made, it really helps you, the business owner, our audience out. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you. So any other last minute thoughts, Pedro, before we wrap it up?
if you have any questions of any of the topics we discussed today, just to reach out. Send us an
Yeah,
email, and
yeah.
that's the best advice I can give you right now.
Absolutely. And I was so actually, and I just realized that I did not even push any of the banners today. So I was just so into the conversation.
Yeah, that's good. It, wa-
I'm
it,
better
it,
than some of them, but
it was a good conversation.
it was super exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for joining us on Coffee Time. I want to leave you always, with a quote of motivational speaker Jim Rohn. You are the average of the five people you spend the most time with. I hope we are two of the five people you are spending your time with to learn and grow your business. So until next episode, have a wonderful and blessed rest of your week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.